We need to talk. Your bends could sound way better if you just opened up your mind and body to some frightening changes. Your bends sound like this. And I constantly hear you saying, oh my God, it's so hard to bend strings. My hand hurts. What's probably going on is you're using your fingers to bend rather than your wrist, arm, elbow, whatever, any other part of your body, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that sort of stuff. But what you're doing is you're straightening your fingers out when you're trying to bend the string. Keep an eye on my left hand here, my fretting hand, and you'll see what happens when I do that. I am fretting a note normally, right, on the tips of my fingers. And then as I try to bend the string upwards, I'm gonna straighten my fingers out. Yeah, that slips out from under my finger. And let me let you guys in on a little secret here. How you fret a note on the guitar, the string needs to be pushed into the fretboard. I know, who would have thought? Can't believe that my guitar teacher that shows up at my house stinking like Black and Milds and driving an old Chevy Nova wouldn't catch me on this one, right? Wild. Anyway, super quick fix. Don't let your fingers straighten out at all as you're bending. Make sure you're still on the same exact point on the tip of your finger from the bottom of the bend, where it's not bent at all, to the top of the bend, like so. You can see my finger is still pushed in at exactly the same point from here to here. So how I'm bending is I'm making this motion by turning my forearm, right? I saw on another video, I think it might have been Ben Eller, who's a great teacher. Pretty sure it was him that said bending should feel like turning a doorknob from underneath the doorknob. So this kind of motion, right? And you can see that my fingers stay exactly the same, so I'm able to stay pushed in. Some other quick things about bending. Rule of thumb, whenever we can, we want to bend with our ring finger, and we're going to put our second finger in the fret behind that and our first finger in the fret behind that. It's a lot easier to bend with the strength of all those fingers than just one finger, right? That's more difficult. Let's jump in and try that. Our goal is just to not straighten out our fingers at all. So take a look at example 1. We're gonna bend the 7th fret on the G string. Our ring finger goes on 7 on G, middle finger goes on 6 on G, and first finger goes on 5 on G. So all on the same string. Here we go. Cool, and you can avoid hitting the D string, which I did not do. How do we know which direction we bend? Well, another rule of thumb about bending, these high strings, our high E, our B, and our G, we're gonna bend upward, and our low E, our A, and our D, we're gonna pull downward. The reason for that is you have more room. If I pulled down on my high E, that would happen, and that is bad. You'd look like a fucking dummy. So don't do it. Let's try the other part of example 1, which is bending the 7th fret on the D string. So now instead of pushing up, we're gonna pull down. Same rules apply. See, this knuckle never straightens out or flexes or whatever. It stays exactly as it was when I first fretted the note. Let's take a look at example 2. We're gonna do what's called a bend release. So we're gonna bend up and pull it back down. This is a great way to practice to make sure that you're staying pushed into the fretboard, bending and bringing it back down. So 7th fret on the G string, same fingers. So we don't lose any volume. You don't want to hear, right? That means we released our pressure too early. So imagine this just like a waiter or waitress with a giant tray of food, right? You get to the table, you need to like lower that down, still being firm. You don't want to drop, your bloomin' onion on the family, right? At Chili's, they'll be mad at you. Cool, let's try that again. Second half of example 2, 7th fret of the D string. We're gonna bend, we're gonna pull down this time, right? But we're still gonna bend up a whole step and bring it back down. Cool, pushing in that whole time. Don't release the pressure at all until you are done. So a word about the fingers you're using. A lot of times I have students bend and it sounds like this. And you hear that kind of shit, that's bad. I don't like it. You don't have to do it. How you can fix that is with your first finger. It will mute those other strings. So we are fretting the 7th, 6th, and 5th fret on one string, right? But the first finger's job is a little bit different than the other fingers. Instead of playing right on the tip of my finger, I'm gonna flatten it a little bit so the back of my first finger is muting the B string, or the adjacent strings, right? This isn't just for G string and the string surrounding it. But the back of your first finger will block the string under, and the top of your first finger will mute the string above. So if I go like this, we don't hear an open string, right? If I don't have my first finger positioned that way, it'll sound like this. Cool, so if you're experiencing that, there you go, that's the quick fix. Example 3, we're gonna bend with our other fingers, right? So sometimes you will have to bend with your first finger or your middle finger or, heaven forbid, even your pinky. And that's totally okay, same rules apply, right? Just don't straighten your fingers out. So 5th fret, first finger. 6th fret. So now we can put our index finger, our first finger behind that fret to get a little more strength. Another cool thing to practice when you're getting used to bending is example 4. We're gonna hit a note on one string and then bend to that same note on the next string. So right now we're gonna bend a D to an E. We're gonna play this E note, the 5th fret of the B string with our first finger. And then we're gonna put our middle finger on 6 on G and our ring finger on 7 on G. We're gonna try and bend the G string up to the pitch of the B string. And that's a good thing to practice all over. Everybody's guitar is a little bit different, right? It depends on the scale length of your guitar, obviously the string gauge, the setup, those sorts of things of how hard you have to push up to make a whole step bend. So get to know your own instrument, it's important. Let's do that on the E and B strings because of how the guitar is tuned. Now instead of being 2 frets away, we'll be 3 frets away. So 5th fret on E, and then 8th fret on B. If we have our hand positioned right and we're using the right techniques, we can also bend and use some fingers that we're not using for bending to hit other notes on the guitar, right? So looking at example 5, we're gonna bend the 7th fret on G and use our pinky to hit the 8th fret on B. This is like a very common lick that you see all the time in classic rock, like pentatonic stuff or country licks, whatever. We're gonna bend and then hit that next note. And you can let them ring together. You can stop that note. Another one would be like bending 7 on G and then hitting 5 on your high E string. Last thing about bending, we want to be able to stop our bend at any point, right? And not have like that kind of thing happen. So we could go like, a 2-pronged attack is always best practice, right? Where we release pressure with our fretting hand and we also kind of just tap the strings with the palm of our right hand. So something like this. So I want you guys to try doing that at home, avoiding this sound. Right? That's bad. That is at least controlled. I don't know if I want to say good, it depends on what you're playing, but at least you're in control and that is the point. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Like, subscribe, hit me in the comments with any other fundamental foundational technique stuff or things that you struggle with that maybe I can help out with. Bye-bye.